Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 6 of Hardcore Casuals with your host, Axel Grave here. We've been doing this first season, whatever you want to call it, here on Hardcore Casuals with season 2 of Iron Fist. And we did the first half, first day, was doing a review every episode just to recap on what this really is, Hardcore Casuals. We do a review of every episode with an in-depth summary and a critical review. And just trying to, last time we did a little extra and did like the halfway point of like, all right, we're at the story. Now we're at the second half of the story, episode 6, total of 10 episodes. And it's interesting. This one we come back on just having had Misty and Colleen bring Joy and Mary, or Walker, back to Danny and Ward at Colleen and Danny's apartment. And so now Misty, it starts off this episode, she's just kind of grilling them, and she's just like, well, some people don't have anything, but some people choose to be a piece of shit, and why do you choose to be a piece of shit? And then there's a whole long, back and forth between them about what they did, and she kind of explains exactly, the tribal tattoos, and the Crane Sisters is the name of those 3 girls who were tattooing, the witches, whatever. Walker's just like a pissant. And he's just, basically begging Misty, I don't care, I can get out of these cuffs whenever I want. Following this, Misty informs the rest of the room about the tattoos, about the transferal procedure, the Heart of the Dragon, and they basically come up with a plan. It's like, all right, if we can find these sisters, maybe we can reverse the process, whatever that means or needs. And they're like, okay, well, Misty and Colleen have to go out and do that, and Ward has to stay with Danny because someone has to stay with Danny. He's like, okay, cool, but I can't babysit these 2 people back there. And I was just like, they would have gone if they wanted to go or something. At which point Misty and Colleen leave to go and find the Crane Sisters. Then we switch back over to Davos, who is currently using the guy from the last one, the secondary, the second boss of the Golden Tigers triad, and he is moving Davos around town and giving him people to kill for criminals. He's like, these guys are criminals. He's like, do you know about that? He's like, no, all I know is that they lead to the putrefaction of this city. I love his vernacular too. He's very Kunlun, very much so. More than Danny's is for sure. After this, we see Walker talking with Danny and Ward. But basically, Danny and Walker are talking and trying to figure out if they can redo the plan she did on Danny to capture Davos. And she's like, well, how much do you have to pay you? I'll set you up for life in your little cabin in Arizona, which is what she wants. So she doesn't change into Mary, oh so sad and oh contrary, whatever. Which I love that they use that song stuff, and that stuff's cool. They do the same thing in DC with Solomon Grundy, and I love it. They use that old, poem, whatever it is. But anyway, they do this, and Mary convinces Danny to go do this, and he's like, well, don't kill him, and I'll pay you. And he's like, okay, so we'll go. And they leave Ward alone with Joy, and it's just like, oh man, now he's there. So Joy eventually is forced to come out and talk, and they hash out a whole bunch of stuff. Not like hash it out, but they talk about a bunch of the stuff in their relationships. Ward's like, you don't know, I was protecting you. She's like, honestly, hate Joy. Still hate Joy. I'm sure I've said it every episode at this point, but she is a very hateable character. I hate her more than Davos, honestly. Because Davos at least thinks he's doing right, and she just fucked up, man. Man, I really hope she dies this episode. Nah, I've been saying that every episode. Make this Death of Joy episode. I'd be okay with it. No more happiness. No more. Following this, we catch up with Colleen and Misty, who, through their connections, however, whatever, have found the Crane Sisters. They confront them with that and, to threaten to charge them with the attempted murder, a bunch of other stuff, and they're like, well, you can't do that. And then the Crane Sisters attack them, so, Colleen beats up 2 of them while Misty chases the runner down. They get the information from them about all the rituals and stuff, and they're like, well, can you do this, or would you rather, go to jail? And they're like, well, I guess we'll figure it out, including the silent girl who hadn't talked. And there we go back to Danny and Walker, who are setting up. They found out because the reason Colleen and Misty didn't know is because Walker lied to them about not knowing where Davos was, where she actually knew where he was because she had dropped off Danny. And so they're waiting there for Davos, and they're talking about the things that bring on Mary's condition, like pouring water. I think it was flashing lights and a couple other things that just change your personality. And after that, we go back to Davos, who after killing more people is returning to his hideout, lair, home, whatever you want to call it. And the other guy, he's like, yeah, we have more work to do tomorrow. We're gonna go. What about those kids? He's like, oh, those are street trash. Aladdin. They just steal stuff and try to find anything. Do you want me to put them on the list? He's like, not yet. And I'm like, oh, Davos, don't cross that line. That'll make you a real hateable villain. Right now, you're just out killing bad guys, but for the most part, I mean, it's really hard to, right now he's basically the Punisher, so he's like, it's like, well, finally this scene culminates in Danny confronting Davos in the hideout, trying to, tell him, what are you doing? You can't possibly, and Davos just wants Danny to work with him, to learn at his feet, quote unquote. So he's obviously let the power of the Iron Fist go to his head. I'm sure that he's going to make some mistakes now through that pride and confidence later. I really thought they were going to take the business. I knew they were going to take the Iron Fist power because that was just like the whole precept. But yeah, I really thought they were going to do the business takeover too. That would have been a way better dual scheme. So I'm a little disappointed that didn't come to fruition. But it is cool to see them making it focused on Davos. Joyce is just a supporting villain, not a main villain. Even though I hate her, Joy is just a supporting villain, not a main villain, even though I hate her so much. Let's see. And so then Mary tries to attack Davos, in the middle of the thing. They get the shot, but it's not enough. Well, they do get it all, but Danny gets hurt. His leg gets broken by Davos while they're fighting. That scene sucked. Like, the punch scene there was so bad. It looked like he just threw a punch at him from, distance, from here to here. It was terrible. Then Davos goes out, and Mary tries to get Danny out, but the cops show up and it starts raining, and she drops him and walks off and becomes Mary and not Walker. Sorry, I should be more specific. Mary, sad and contrary. And so she just kind of leaves him, and she learns that he's trying to do that Walker's trying to get the house in Arizona, and she's like, I can't. I deserve to be happy too. And so she just runs off. And it's a pretty crazy all-around episode, and it's very good for a 6th episode, I think, critically. There are a couple things I didn't like. A lot of the side stuff with Davos is a little, unnecessary that I do, unless it comes to be necessary later. They've done a lot of those little scenes, like Mary and stuff, that come to be necessary and intricate and important later. And so I can't wait to see how that kind of works out. I really like that they made, even though they brought Typhoid Mary in, and that's a big strike on the hardcore side because she's not a villain, they are portraying a hardcore Bloody Mary. I mean, this is Bloody Mary. She's playing her so well. I really love that actress, the way she looks, the energy she carries, the hairstyling to match the hairstyling from the comics and stuff. The actual change in personality leads her to change the hairstyle. It's so good to the tiniest details, honestly, except for the whole fact that she's supposed to be involved with Daredevil, which this might be a lead into season 3 where she gets involved with Daredevil, which would be awesome. Although now that Danny knows about her, it's going to be kind of hard for the whole warning in between. Although they didn't really see each other all that much, and obviously the relationship between Misty and Danny isn't very strong, so they're not all that close. It's just kind of connected to each other. You know what I mean? What else? I think this one had a lot of the Misty Colleen stuff on the side was a little too much. They did a talking scene where it took a little too much time. Even the thing with the Crane sisters, the little drug out, that's a little better later. But they have a whole car scene driving where they're talking about stuff where it's did we really need that? Because we put in more fighting or more story development and less character development? Because that's what that really is character development of emotions, which is cool, but that was not really this episode. That was kind of last episode and that one episode where it's, I mean, there is a little bit in this episode with the whole thing between Joy, and Ward, but the thing about Joy and Ward is that's all 90% on Joy, in my opinion. Dude, he's protecting you from a crazy, evil, abusive father and the Hand. If you can't get it through that head of her, she's just stupid. I mean, he's also protecting himself. What happens when he squawks and gets his head cut off? I mean, but whatever, right? God forbid that she has any kind of smarts like she did in the first one. Yeah, that's my biggest, I think, riff. And the thing is, it's fine. It's fine to make a character hateable, but now you gotta either kill her or make use of her, because she's really sitting in limbo, and I just hate her. I hate her, but Danny and Ward are just starting to do the move when that's like, please get rid of Joyce. Anyway, that's my rant. This has been episode 6 of Hardcore Casuals, where I break down each episode in a season of a series. This is our first set, Iron Fist Season 2, yeah. This is our first set, Iron Fist Season 2, Episode 6, The Dragon Dies at Dawn. That was the name. And I hope you enjoyed it, and tune in for our next episode, Episode 7. Thank you. Have a great day.